we really turned the corner, I think, from there must be a marketing somewhere to, oh boy, there's marketing, they have energy, they're getting things done. And by the way, I need a piece of that action too.
Today, I'm speaking with Bruno Trimouille, CMO of Litera, a software company that specializes in solutions for the legal industry.
What are the types of levers that you're trying to move now?
I was hired to do a marketing transformation. So I had to have leaders that can not only carry their weight into what they're doing, but for me, marketing is a team sport. And we need to build connection with sales. We need to build connection with product, customer success, even with HR to kind of support the lawyers, because at the end, yes, they are the star. But as we know, all stars need a supporting cast.
How do you manage that when certainly you're new, people have done things a certain way?
We actually played an interesting, I would say, trick on.
Welcome to Top CMO. I'm chatting with Bruno Trimouille, CMO at Litera. And Bruno, you describe taking on the opportunity at Litera as one that you were relishing because there were so many facets, so many levers that you had a chance to really overhaul, improve, redefine, reimagine, refresh. So take us through your thinking and why is that a great opportunity, and what are the types of levers that you're trying to move now?
Thank you, Ben. First of all, really glad to be on your podcast. Thank you for the invite. Looking forward to the discussion. So I would say I got maybe two answers for you. I got the why I was attracted to this opportunity. I've done a lot of different marketing leadership engagement across the B2B software market, but I've never been really focused on a single industry like Litera is, again, the legal tech or legal industry at large. And so I was intrigued, I would say, by this opportunity to actually transform the industry. What you may not know is the legal industry is typically not known for being ahead of the curve when it comes to technology adoption. And there's a lot of technology in terms of cloud adoption, in terms of risk management that have already, made strides and have proven track record in other industry. And those technologies are coming in right now as we speak and revolutionizing the way legal firms need to look at technology to transform the business. And on top of that, as we all know, Gen AI is very transformative, but because it's content-centric, it's extremely impactful and transformating for the legal industry. So waves of transformation, new means of revolutionizing the way lawyers work and the way business function behind the scene support that. And Litera is very well positioned, a company with 25 years of track record across the industry. And if you combine that with the connection I had with the leadership, and also the opportunity to really transform the marketing function, which I'm going to get into, that made for a very interesting opportunity. Now, onto the marketing transformation. I would say first order of priority was really to look at the team. We had to restructure the team in terms of the skill set, in terms of the geographical redistribution. So really architecting the team so far around 4 specific pillars. We just added a 5th one not long ago. The first pillars were, product marketing. For us, it's very important. It has to do with messaging, positioning. We have more than 25 products that we actively market across 6 to 7 different buying centers, buying personas. So you can imagine the product marketing job is very important, and we need to adopt playbooks. We need to really be in the driver's seat actually for sales plays and some of the go-to-market motion. And I needed to have leadership and the skill set within the team to get that done. Second was the growth marketing, which is really for us, the combination of demand generation, but also some of the digital spend as well, which we combine under the same roof. Here, it was essentially, and I can detail that, doing 2 things. A, shifting from tactics to campaigns. That's for the air cover sort of engagement, the one-to-many style engagement. And then starting to adopt ABM within our go-to-market. So specifically focusing on the one-to-one and then bleeding into the interstitial, which is the one-to-few in between. And then the last bit was to create a new corporate marketing function from the ground up, which today includes focus on, content, focus on web, focus on press relation, some capabilities around creative and content, and last but not least, the social media style engagement. And that was creating this new function from the ground up, staffing it up with, starting with a new leader, and then all the team behind the scene. Once I'd done that, then I hired the fourth pillar, which was the marketing operations. We were lacking in not only the processes, but also the data and the insights. I'm a big data person, I would say. I really believe in grounding decisions and investment based on data. So we had to stand that up. And fun fact, we just added a fifth pillar, which is now marketing actually owns the pricing function. So pricing and packaging, obviously we had inputs before, but now we actually own that function at this moment within the company.
Bruno, one of the things, if I'm reading between the lines, I mean, this is an established company. It's in the legal industry, which tends to be an in-person kind of industry in terms of marketing through events. Lawyers like to meet face-to-face. So is a lot of these other elements having more of a, more analytics, a digital marketing structure, more kind of marketing, a digital marketing platform? Were those maybe not as developed as much? Because in this industry, if you kind of like had a presence at events and sold through events, you could do fine. But there's a lot of room for low-hanging fruit using technology and innovation in the marketing function that you can really expand the business, but it hadn't necessarily had to be developed because of the dynamics of the industry.
Yes, so absolutely. That's absolutely one reason. I mean, it's again an industry that likes to meet face-to-face. And even as we are creating our FY24 plan, events still have a big lion's share of the marketing spend. But we realize a couple of things. First, as you said, everyone is kind of more technology aware, especially with Gen AI. Even now, lawyers and a lot of different people in the legal firm, are doing research and are poking around and seeing, what's next, what's the capabilities. So that's one. Two, I would say the business of law is changing. I mean, even from a Litera standpoint, 25 years ago, we had one persona. It was the lawyers. And we really crafted a suite of tools and capability to help them in their craft, in their work day to day. But 2 years ago, we started a string of acquisition, more than 12, to kind of build capability around what we call the business of law. So think about it as all the supporting business function, from business development to finance to HR to the CIO office, to kind of support the lawyers, in their endeavor. Because at the end, yes, they are the star, but as we know, all stars need a supporting cast, and that's what's happening. So with this new buying center popping up, you suddenly have new personas. Some of them may be really tech savvy, and as we know, a lot of the buying journey starts, online, start in a self-paced manner. Yes, the conference are a great conduit and a great hub to learn, but more of that is being infused in the legal tech space, because again, all the supporting function do now have software and need for software and software style capabilities to support their business.
I see. Well, and how do you think about, I know one of the tenets that you've kind of subscribed to has been getting away from tactics and turning them more into campaigns. What does that mean? And is there a practical example of what is it to have a set of tactics and to, bundle them up in some way? And why is a campaign more effective and more desired in the marketing goals you're trying to achieve?
Very, very good question. So I've seen sort of two ways to approach it, right? There are some companies where you come in and you adopt a, serious decision or Forrester type framework, and you go by persona and you go at it top down, and it can work. We kind of started to build awareness with the team through that lens. It's like, let's make sure that when we look at document, messaging, content, positioning, we all know who we are selling to. So who is this persona you're going after? How do we, open the door with this persona and generate interest? Now that we got the interest, how do we progress them? So we did a bit of that education with the team and adoption of some of the content, messaging and positioning framework to kind of build up the awareness. But I would say the aha moment for us was also doing it bottom up. So what did we do? Again, events critical part of our marketing mix. So we decided to start with the event and harden the playbook around the event. And the playbook around the event was at the beginning, okay, let's make sure the event is really looked at a really tight production. And in the production, you have the pre-production, you have the during the event, and you have the post-production. So we made the event really a key rallying, vector, not just for marketing meeting, but for marketing and sales to meet, look at, the people we wanted to invite, look at the demo we wanted to talk about. So it was really a vector of collaboration around that, really hardening the playbook on event. And we improved it, quantum leaps, and we've seen, the influence that has on the pipeline. It's for some events, you multiply the pipeline by 1.5 and 2 with just the same presence, sometimes even a presence reduction, although I shouldn't say that out loud. And then starting from that, we really infused both in marketing and sales the idea that, okay, let's look at the event follow-up first. The event follow-up, frankly, was a little bit hazardous because it's like, hey, we know everyone, the account executive who were at the event. By the way, sorry, one thing I must say is we injected 2 key KPI into the event. There was the pipeline, influence. There was the pipeline source. That's table stake. But a key metric of success for us is also the number of meeting, one-to-one meeting we had either pre-scheduled or during the event. And that's a shared goal that we drive with the salespeople. And so from all those meetings, and all the engagement we have with hot leads, we also heighten a little bit our standard of qualification at the event. Now we need to look at the event follow-up. And the event follow-up is not just, us for marketing saying, hey, sales, you got, 25 leads, thank you, follow-up. Or it's not just sales, thinking, hey, marketing, I'm sure you're going to send some follow-up emails to them. We scrap that. It's really about doing it as a follow-up campaign. Who does what? BDR swim lane, account executive swim lane, customer success swim lane, which we added, which was new, marketing swim lane, and really creating a plan that everyone knew about and everyone is executing. It's not just marketing, sending follow-up email and all that kind of thing. And then the next phase was looking at the upstream side of the event. For some events, we didn't have, for instance, a landing page or, some of the material on the landing page that we were demonstrating and showing at the event. So really heightening the production of the event and the packaging, but also all the drive too. We started to have stream to build awareness that, hey, we are very well positioned for human resources or for finance team in the world of the legal tech industry. And we had the opener stream to kind of bring up the level of awareness. And then we positioned the event as, hey, if you happen to go to that event, which frankly for legal, the likeliness is high, don't worry, we'll be there and we can continue the discussion. So really stacking up on the left side, upstream of the event, some door opener and awareness and sort of top of the funnel style engagement through digital and email to open the door and build up around that. And from that, then we really embrace the notion of campaign like any other company would do. But for us, it was essentially rallying around the event because that was a key anchor point, if that makes sense.
Well, and I think 2 things that are interesting. I think one, for event marketing, and we're at Top, we're a global marketing agency. We do a lot of event marketing for our clients. I think one of the things that people sometimes forget is that sometimes the benefit of the event is actually all of the marketing that goes into it, even for people who never attend or people who attend but did so in a limited way, maybe didn't engage with your business or your company, but it's all of that around that. And for a lot of our clients, some of the biggest deals, sales, drivers of value, revenue is actually around all of the collateral activity around the event that even our target, that was the conversion that we didn't actually go. So not kind of having a fully built out, in your words, campaign rather than tactics, pre-event and post-event with multiple swim lanes is a real loss of some of the value. Because otherwise the event is usually limited in time, right? Just a few days, you try to maximize it, but you can use it to drive for an entire quarter, an entire year, if you view the event not as a singular moment in time.
Look, absolutely. We actually played an interesting, I would say, trick on one of our last biggest event, which is called ILTA Con. It stands for ILTA Conference. ILTA is an industry trade association in the world of legal, and that conference at that time in Florida around the summer was, is the rallying cry for a lot of legal companies. And what we did there is, chances are a lot of our target company are going to send at least a couple of people. I think the statistics is anywhere between 3 to 5 people. But what happened with that is because this event was a launch vector for us for GenAI offering, the landing page of the event became a way for people attending the event and also those not attending for event to participate in the launch. So we had teaser videos, we had teaser content. Our CEO stood on stage and delivered a presentation. We flew a video crew team to actually capture that presentation, slice it in different parts, post the first part, hours after the presentation, and then the next part weeks after. So we created a little bit of a digital hub for those people who were at the event and maybe missed part of our action, because we had demo booths and we posted the demo videos over there. We had a demo theater with 20-minute session. Well, guess what? We posted, those videos over there as well in a staggered manner. So that event landing page, because it was kind of really tightly correlated with the launch, became the conduit to actually reach, a lot of those people who could not make it, or those people who could make it but maybe missed the part of the action or wanted to share some of the content and the presentation that a colleague, from that company had missed. So I think we played it pretty well, and the pipeline has been really, really high from that specific event.
And then I think the other insight listening to you that matches sometimes how we think about things at work, especially for transformation, is, and particularly when you want to transform a lot of things at once, which it sounds like you want to do. You're ambitious, Bruno. You want to get results and change quickly, but starting from a place of strength makes a lot of sense. And in this case, it sounds like it's event marketing, right? Because a lot of business goes through there. And when you're moving a lot of levers, to also do it in an area that is, that because so much stuff is new, you're just looking like, what can I ladder to that's the same, that we know well, that we know how to do to give us a really strong base. And I think sometimes on big transformations, CMOs come into a particular opportunity or particular role, they want to change a lot. And it's all like, okay, where are all the, the holes we can plug or things we should have? And that's, of course, important. And maybe that's why you were hired. But to actually do an assessment of what are the strengths, what do we do really well? What are even the things that we can do, even if we could get more out of it, but like we can do in our sleep, we can do these things, and building some of that change on that foundation that already exists can be really, really important in avoiding sort of biting off more than you can chew.
Absolutely, yeah. There were so many, different areas and levers, as you said, and this is why, for instance, our first playbook was, as I said, literally about hardening the event, and then once all that, thing was done, then we looked at the webinars, because we have, again, products that are very unlike, I would say, some other company I work for, which sells more widget and things that need to be contextualized. Here we sell software that are, install and you run it. It delivers the capabilities out of the box. So as you can imagine, webinars play a really big role, at least in either on the left side of the funnel to kind of build up awareness, or in the progression after we met the first time at the event and they kind of get the concept. We really need to educate them on the heart of, how and why we are different. So webinar, was another spot. But I must say right now, the kind of breakthrough for us is really on the digital side. On the digital side, I would say not only getting our acts together in terms of having the right dashboard to analyze the spend, the cost per click and things like that, but I would say the most recent breakthrough we found is video ads just works like amazingly. Yeah. We just tried a few at the tail end of the conference, and the increase of conversion and engagement is just flabbergasting. So I don't know if it's just because video ads are enticing as a whole across industry, or the legal industry is not using them that much. But I can tell you, we are getting crazy number and reach with those video ads that we're going to triple down in FY24.
And what is your advice for thinking about all of the, types of marketing channels, platforms, tactics that you can experiment with, and how much you should experiment when doing a transformation, and how much you should kind of go with what's tried and true? And where this really comes into sort of kind of definition is on this notion of how you do budgeting. Because budgeting becomes, in some ways, a statement of your values, right? What do we value based on where we choose to invest money? So how do you think about sort of experimenting versus your core foundation, and how is that reflected in the budget?
So we had a big shift in the budget as I came in, I would say, and the major shift was essentially that the budget was very slanted to using agencies. I mean, not that I don't like agency, but to me, building at least a core team without going overboard in terms of the number of staff, at least having one person with that specific skill set was very key and fundamental. So I guess even upstream to your question, I'm going to say having the right team leaders and really looking at the skill set, not so much, who do you report to, but kind of, hey, do we have somebody who understands, for instance, digital marketing? Do we have somebody that understands web marketing? So thinking about this as functional coverage was really, really key. And I would say I would triple down on that again and again and again. I did it because I knew it had helped me in the previous experience, but it didn't fail. Having the right leaders and the right coverage helped us a ton. Now, when we looked at it, as I said, so events were a big thing, but at the same time, we knew we had to modernize our tech stack. So here we knew we had to divest from certain technologies, we had to rationalize certain technologies, and we had to maybe adopt certain new technology, especially as we were scaling up or wanting to scale up ABM. So we started to invest there. And then towards the second half of the year, I joined Litera, at the end of January. So towards the second half, as we were getting our house in order in a lot of those, I would say, events, whether face-to-face or digital, we started to hire and staff and really play with the digital marketing aspect of the budget. Today, event is my number one marketing sourcing contribution. Web and digital is kind of catching up to it, but it's still, so web is now number 2, which is great, but it's still half of the contribution that the events bring. In my opinion, it needs to be not just the same, but maybe even 2x the size of digital, because again, if a company sends 5 people, there are a lot of people that stays behind the scene that should engage with us digitally. So we played a lot, especially in those past 4 to 5 months, with the digital aspect, first trying to instrument what we're doing, and then trying to spend in a smarter way. I have an advantage is we have a well-defined target set of 800 accounts. That's really the top pool we're going after. We have a very long tail that we also need to cater to. But here it's a little bit of a different selling motion. It's more low touch. So in my high touch selling motion, I have a pool of 800 accounts, and there's a lot of different interesting things you can do if you engage digitally, but at the same time, spend a lot of effort in segmenting and targeting, if that makes sense.
Sure. Well, it makes a lot of sense. And finally, what is the buy-in to all of this from the rest of the company? And how do you manage that when certainly you're new, people have done things a certain way? It sounds like it hasn't been a digital marketing focused company, which we've talked about is related to its industry that it plays in. But how do you think about sort of the political side of bringing everyone along, making sure that everyone, all the key stakeholders are on board before you drive many changes, which sometimes, those who are impatient and ambitious sometimes run into in organizations that have been around more than just a few years?
Great question. So first off, if you rewind to the context of Litera, so I was hired to do a marketing transformation, but a lot of the ELT is new and was hired maybe a little bit before me, some right after me to do the same thing. So it's a company that overall is transforming and under the leadership of our CEO, which is very great and very transformation centric. Transformation is just happening everywhere. So I had a little bit of that advantage. Then, as I told you, Ben, I think having the right leaders really made a difference. If we are honest with ourselves, marketing was not very visible before for all kinds of different reasons. So I had to have leaders that can not only, carry their weight into what they're doing, again, product marketing, etc. But for me, marketing is a team sport. And we need to build connection with sales. We need to build connection with product, customer success, even with HR, even with finance. So this is something that was table stake for me in hiring and positioning those new leaders. And then number 3, each area has its own win. Again, product marketing was really a little bit behind the scene, putting them in front of the scene, and working on deliverables with the product team, working on deliverables with the customer success, and logging and advertising internally those successes. Doing the same again with event. Event was not just, yes, there's some marketing people and they will make sure that we have a booth and the right people. We created this playbook, which was not just about marketing, but bringing in sales and customer success. And the feedback I had is like, oh my goodness, so marketing, there's some energy, there is some presence that we've never seen. And that presence was very collaborative by design, right? And so people started to appreciate that. And I would say in second half, we started to have a little bit of the reverse problem is now that people know there's a marketing function and have tasted and seen. Now, that we're giving them this, they want the whole thing. And sometimes we have capacity issue. One easy example is, for instance, on the creative side. Now we do have a creative team, but it's a team of, 4 or 5 people. I mean, for a company our size, we may need more. And people were seeing the beautiful graphics at conference and wanted it for this and that and this other thing. So now we have to kind of channel and add a bit more processes, to engaging with us. But we really turned the corner, I think, from there must be a marketing somewhere to, oh boy, there's marketing, they have energy, they're getting things done. And by the way, I need a piece of that action too.
According to Bruno Trimouille, transforming your marketing department and team doesn't have to be overwhelming. Focus on assembling the right leaders, those with the necessary skill sets that align with your marketing goals. Identify and leverage existing strengths within the company and build upon them as a solid foundation for transformation. Incorporate new technologies to improve your efficiency and effectiveness and continuously refine your existing approach. Remember, success is contagious. Small victories lead to bigger ones, and maybe more requests from other leaders in your company too. For Top CMO, I'm Ben Kaplan.